Welcome back to this tutorial. Today we are going to be doing still life, and I apologize for the noise in advance. There is a lot of cars and people moving around, but I'm going to be drawing a banana for this still life. Of course we shall be doing other things in the future, but for now it's just going to be banana, and I'm going to try and I don't have the best camera around, so but I'll try as much as possible to get an accurate representation if I can, and then I'll put it on here as a reference photo so that you can see how I'm approaching it. Is I'm looking at it in kind of a 2-point perspective. There is that line going towards that side, and then there is that perspective. So here it's kind of a 2-point perspective. That's my thinking. Again, based on how I've studied perspective and what I know about it, I don't know a lot about it, but I'm still again practicing, and that's what I feel like. So that's my thought process. So when you're drawing, those are things that you can keep in mind as well to help you make better decisions. Of course, if you find that your assumptions are wrong, then you'll definitely make changes where necessary. All right. So it's not. When most times when I'm doing these paintings and drawings, I'm experimenting for the most part. So here I'm done with what I call the rough sketch of what I'm going to consider my drawing, because this line of course will come something like that. I'm going to put it down to 30 there, and probably come like that. So I normally use this brush because it's kind of gives me a relatively natural look, but of course you can use whichever one you want. I'm going to be painting within the outlines. I'm not going to spend too much time tightening up the sketch, because turning off. So this is the perfect one. I can go with that. And I lock its transparency, and I'm going to clip a layer on top of it so that I begin adding in these smaller details, like green elements. Here I now have this part, which is kind of that color. So the light is shining from up like that, okay, but the thing is, this part, that the edges, okay, for when I turn back the sketch, this part that is on this side, this part here is turning away from the light, whereas this part is almost the one reaching the light. So this part here is not as bright as this midsection, and also this midsection quickly transitions. Even though the shadows are a soft transition right around this place, it transitions into the back and then forms a shadow down here. So again, when I'm painting this, is going to be my painting process. What I'm going to do is to block in this kind of color, which is, let me change that a little bit. I need kind of like this. Okay, again, we can change it with time, and we shall keep on tweaking. So this part here is not really in the light. It's kind of moving away from the light, moving towards that side, and we shall represent that as well. We need to add dimension to it. And then the part below, that much. The part below here, it's in shadow. This part is in shadow, and so this part here, as it comes, it rolls over. So this the shadows, as they move towards that side, they become darker and darker, so which will create a rolling effect. I want to work non-destructively, so I'm going to add another layer for the blendings and everything, and I'm going to bring my soft brush and I begin trying to blend out these areas here. Again, these are not the final places, but so to create some little bit of dimension in our. So the thing is, here when you begin to blend these shapes, what's going to happen is the darker areas are going to cause the shape to recede back. Okay, so the darker areas will cause it to go back, or in a sense to move away from us, while the lighter areas will cause it to move towards us. And when we add things like shadows or highlights, then we shall be just amplifying the effect. To check our values, let me go here and go add a solid color adjustment layer. Just make it dark and put it to color, so we can see that these values down here and below are very dark now, which means that there is a huge problem we have. I just don't feel right about these colors below, so I'm going to decrease them in a way. So to do that, let me go here and I'm going to add a new layer just for experimentation processes, and I'm going to change the values of these colors here. So let me do that quickly, just like that. And these colors here, I'm going to now bring them under here. Okay, you see that? So I've introduced in this color that is rolling away, and I've brought it in this side as well. Also here, I also don't like that color there, because I feel it's again still too harsh for what we are trying to do here. And so you can see now, again, it's not perfect yet. It feels like it has lost its dimension down there, but it's for the good. You don't want to paint things that are too funny. Okay, so this is what we've changed, and this is before. You can see that this is a little bit funny. It looks rotten or something. But here it's a little bit more harmonious. So when we put back our color values, you'll see that our values are kind of in the same range, whereas here you'll see that these values here are very dark. But this is how I normally use these color values, because if this is not what I'm seeing, if this color value is not what I'm seeing in the image, what I'm seeing is more or less like this color, which means here I almost can't see anything under here, but here I can, from my image, I can tell out that this place here is a little bit okay. So I can blend these areas here like that, right? So again, this marks a transition into a light area, and then that goes back that side. What I want now is to, you can see this area which looks very airbrushed here. okay, this area here, you can see it's because I used an airbrush so much and you should avoid doing that. We need a shadow on there. Now when you're painting a shadow, you're going to first of all define which background you're using, and if you're using this kind of background, then the shadow is supposed to be again within this range. Let me try using a different background. So what I do is I sample those colors at the colors that I've used to roll the shape away, and then I come here and change this and put it almost in a perspective. Again, we are working, when you're painting, I don't know how many times I've said perspective in this video, but it's one of the most important fundamentals of painting. So here now, when you paint like that, when you're sampling colors, it's getting the shadow from this area here. Of course, again, you could darken the shadow a little bit, but generally speaking, whichever surface the shape is seated on, the shadow is going to be almost like that. If it's a dark surface, the shadow is going to be dark colored. For me to get the right kind of shadow that I want, I have to use these colors, and the colors that I use there to get the shadow are, for the most part, what I should put beneath. So for example, here you can see that when I define a darker color of a shadow, right, in these parts that are touching the ground, and I define a darker color, you can see that it's not realistic. Okay, I hope you understand what I'm saying. So it's not realistic. So what I have to do to make it realistic, I have to go down there and I add the same color. You see that part there, right? I have to add the same hue. They have to have the same hue, then it will look right. Yeah, that's why these parts that touch the ground are always the darkest areas, and then the parts that move out are always the lighter areas. What we now want is to change that area. It looks wrong. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that layer there, and with our normal color that we've been using, so B, we change it back, we change the brush back to that normal size, reduce it, and then come in there and tighten up those areas. And then again, make sure you are blending those surfaces together so that it doesn't cause, you don't again exceed the values we've been talking about. When you put our values, now you can see now our values are relatively right. Okay, so you can see now versus what we had. Now these values are wrong, because you can see this value is not what we have in our reference photo. So let's go back to add some few things, a few details. It has some brownish spots on it. Lastly, we define our shadows, multiply layer, and just go to the general color and put it on gray, put it on around gray there, and then so what I know is my shadows are in the bottom sections. So right down here in the bottom section, right around there where it passes, I'm going to just put this on multiply. Just gently pass over like that. So you can see that once you remove, it creates that sort of subtle shadow. Up there you want to put highlights, which means I'm going to create overlay, Okay, so you can experiment around with various sort of highlights, overlay, and I'm going to just pass it over there. There are things you could add, there are things you could go and add a hue and saturation adjustment layer if you feel like your saturation values aren't right, and this just adds a little bit of saturation to whatever you're doing. But I feel like with or without the saturation, because my values here are pretty desaturated, so with or without the saturation, this works properly to explain the idea of this being a bandana. Okay, so this is all that I had for you today. Just go create, stay awesome, be amazing. Till next time, peace.